realizing the power and importance of gratitude and rest in the journey of diligence. If we want to be sustained in our diligence, if we want to have longevity, then we have to have gratitude and rest as a part of our routine of life. Listen, I was doing an assignment, and it wasn't until I rested from that assignment, it was completed and it was even submitted. And I was proud of the work that I had done. But it wasn't until I rested that I allowed myself a break, a moment to shift posture, to shift attention, to tap into something that is a bit more joyful and enjoyable, and that is a little bit less like stringent and hardly focused. That clarity came to me. I missed something. And I was able to go back and correct that mistake before the submission deadline. And this is the power of rest. When we rest, we gain clarity. When we rest, we gain strategy. When we rest, we actually take the pressure off. The pressure off to produce increase. The Bible says that one plants, one waters, but it is Yahweh who brings the increase. So when you say, I choose to rest so that my diligence can be sustained, so that the springs of my gratitude can burst forth and remain, you're saying, God, it's really about whatever you want to do. I may have my own imagination about what should happen and what could happen with this work that I've done, with this seed that I've planted, with this field that I've been cultivating, but you already have a plan for this. And so by resting, I am submitting the protection, the safeguarding, the full manifestation of your will, the increase, all of that totally over to you. Gratitude. Rest feeds into gratitude. When you are tired, when you are mentally exhausted and overwhelmed, you are in a place of vulnerability. You're vulnerable to anger. You're vulnerable to resentment. You're vulnerable to upset. You're vulnerable to frustration. You're vulnerable even to the voice of the enemy making whisperings in your ears about the timeline of God, about how things look, about whether or not you're qualified, about how God is not speaking to you in this way in this season. But when you rest, and you move in gratitude on a daily basis, when you recall to mind the faithfulness of Yahweh, not only are you taking the pressure off, but you keep yourself anchored in God's identity, who you know He is and who you know He will show Himself to be. And I think that's a powerful place to be, because even when we are weary, even when our heart is broken, even when we're full of rejoicing and celebration, we must remain anchored in God's identity. And when we're anchored in God's identity, ours continues to unfold. Ours is protected.